innovators. They've made a career out of breaking down musical barriers and reign supreme as kings of the mashup. They faced mountains of rejection and reaped the rewards of fame. They have a dark sound with a positive message. They're prolific, passionate, and powerful. So the question is, how did this eclectic group of young men come together to form the most important band in contemporary music? Quite simply, Linkin Park was born to be.
I've become so numb, I can't feel you there. Become so tired, so much more aware. I'm becoming this. All I want to do is be more like me and be less like you.
My mother always wanted me to be a lawyer.
A doctor.
An architect like my father.
My dad insisted on medical school.
I was always expected to be a part of the family business.
A bank manager.
But
I was born to be.
Linkin Park's fateful journey to chart-topping dominance began in the hallways of a high school in Southern California. And like every school, Agora High had its cliques: metalheads, hip-hop kids, rockers. Observing the vast chasm between these groups, students Mike Shinoda and Brad Delson fantasized about forming a band that would incorporate all of their favorite musical genres, resulting in a utopian fusion of style and sound.
We're a hybrid of musical styles, but we're also a hybrid of louder and quieter elements also.
Shinoda, a classically trained musician whose first love was hip-hop, and Delson, a budding rock guitarist, put their money where their mouth was and set out to make their dream a reality. They were all of 18 years old. The duo soon became a trio with a shiny new recruit, drummer and fellow high schooler Rob Borden.
I had dreams about drums. I had dreams about drum fills that I practiced the day before and I couldn't get right. It was just constant drum craziness.
The band called themselves Zero. Upon graduation, Zero's founding members headed off to college with their musical dreams tucked firmly in their back pockets. While attending the California Art College of Design, Mike Shinoda hooked up with a like-minded colleague named Joseph Hahn. Hahn, a DJ and illustrator, was intrigued by Shinoda's plot for an all-encompassing musical takeover. Hahn, like Shinoda, leaned in the direction of hip-hop, but the prospect of working with musicians from rock and metal backgrounds seriously piqued his interest. He quickly accepted an offer to join the band. Meanwhile, at another California campus, Brad Delson was making connections with bass player Dave Farrell. With the rockers represented in one corner and the MCs in another, the time had come to find a vocalist to bring the melody to this musical mashup. The newly minted band enlisted vocalist Mark Wakefield, an old pal from Agora High School. In 1997, Zero recorded and released the self-titled demo, which they circulated around LA. The ambitious offering generated a sizable buzz, and the momentum earned the band a coveted spot opening for superstars System of a Down. The showcase proved to be very profitable for the rock stars in the making. Executives from Zomba Music attended the show and were so impressed with Zero's raw talent, they were offered a development deal on the spot. Encouraged by the lightning speed success, the guys amped up their commitment to the band. They began to play the LA circuit with frequency, with hopes of landing a record deal.
The Strip has always been, that's where we grew up. I played there a lot, and Brad and Rob, our guitarist and drummer, had played in bands before even I did, so they had been playing there too. And it's always been somewhere that the young bands, go to try out their stuff.
But fate had something else planned for Zero. Over the next 3 years, the band was rejected by every important record label in the business. After an impressive beginning, the group was discouraged by their string of bad luck. Shinoda and Delson agonized over the future of the band. Eventually, they came to the conclusion that in order to survive, they needed a frontman who could better represent their eclectic sound. In 1999, Mark Wakefield was dropped from Zero. The remaining members contacted their old recruits at Zomba Music in the hopes of finding a stellar new vocalist. Jeff Blue, an early supporter of the band and VP of A&R at Zomba, recalled a young up-and-coming singer named Chester Bennington. Fate was working her magic when Bennington, based in Phoenix, Arizona, received a phone call from Zomba in the midst of his 23rd birthday celebrations.
Worship the crown, kiss my hand.
The next day, a package arrived on his doorstep containing 2 demos from Zero, a track with Wakefield singing and an instrumental version of the same song. Chester couldn't believe his good fortune. He was drawn to the music as if by magnetic force. When he sat down to write parts for the song, the melody and lyrics came effortlessly. After 3 days of intense reworking, Chester sent the finished product back to California. When the band heard Bennington's tape, they were blown away.
Don't turn your back on me, I won't be ignored.
In an instant, they knew they'd found the missing piece of the puzzle.
Chester has this incredible weird thing when he sings really aggressive. He has like 2 or 3 different voices inside his voice. You can hear 2 or 3 different notes, and it's the strangest thing in the world.
But before they could go from zeros to heroes, the band had to hatch a plan of attack. When we return, the guys get focused, find freedom, and cash in on some hard-earned success. But not before spending a little extra time at the School of Hard Knocks.
People made jokes about like us being like put together by a boy band producer thing or something.
Watch as these musical renegades make a fresh start and go for broke. Born to Be continues. Linkin Park are the definitive leaders of the nu metal genre. They've sold over 35 million records worldwide and show no signs of slowing down. But these talented stars didn't blaze trails overnight. They struggled for years to gain recognition and respect in the music industry.
You're just trying to prove like, hey, I'm not jobless. I've got a job. It's like writing music.
But I just don't make money at it.
I don't make money at it, but I mean, I do this every day, you know?
In 1999, the band formerly known as Zero had a charismatic new frontman and a fresh outlook on their careers. To herald the changes, the group renamed themselves Hybrid Theory.
Hybrid Theory is definitely a lot more than just a combination of sounds. You know, we like to bring in not only the different combinations of the sounds, but we also have a heavy aspect, a softer aspect. We have a more aggressive side and a more sensitive side, even lyrically, too. So there's a lot of different ideals that go into our music.
Hybrid Theory wasted no time recording a self-titled 6-song EP, which they marketed independently through the internet and a newly formed street team.
In the beginning stages of the band, we were doing it on our own. I think that our 6 guys are pretty tech savvy, and in the beginning we were doing that. We started our street team on our own and packed those things up and stored all the names in our own database and contacted all those people via email.
A combination of musical merit and clever self-promotion put Hybrid Theory back in the game. In no time, they built up a healthy fan base and felt confident enough to pitch their wares to labels for a second time. But although the music garnered enough interest to win some showcase opportunities, there were still no offers on the table.
We pretty much just focused all of our energy on the songs, and that really was our basis for what we wanted to do. And then after we got the songs together, we put the demo together, and then we started showcasing for the labels and doing a few shows here and there.
By 2000, the band was at a standstill. They had repeatedly solicited record labels to no avail. To make matters worse, the group discovered their name was copyrighted, and they were forced to give it up. Ever the optimists, The guys saw the incident as a sea of change and were reborn as Linkin Park.
So we all just like wrote a bunch of different names down on our separate lists, and I chose Linkin Park because it was a park that right by where I lived, and it just sounded good, had a good vibe.
In a fateful turn of events, old friend and staunch supporter Jeff Blue paid a visit to the band. Blue had recently joined the Warner Brothers team, and he'd convinced the label to take a chance on Linkin Park. They were finally getting their break. Ready to start a rock and roll revolution, the guys seized the opportunity and never looked back. In October 2000, Linkin Park proudly presented their label debut, Hybrid Theory, to the world. And the world responded. Within 5 weeks of the album's release, it sold over 500,000 copies. Gold records, sold-out tours, and massive airplay took Linkin Park from starving artists to megastars in the blink of an eye.
When we started and Mike and Brad were originally working on music on a 4-track, I think the point of everything was just to enjoy ourselves and do something that we love, which is write and play music.
The album spawned smash hits like Crawling and In the End.
But in the end, it doesn't even matter.
While the first single, One Step Closer, became the rock anthem of 2001.
We have something that we can like listen to, and we are perfectionists. You know, we really are hard on ourselves when it comes to writing music and most things like playing shows, whatever. And I think that this is something that we can listen to from beginning to end and be happy with.
The band's biggest supporters connected with Bennington's honest and forthright lyrics, inspired in part by his struggles with an abusive childhood and a drug addiction in his teens.
Crawling is a really emotional song. It's got a lot of very deep lyrics, and it's kind of like admitting something that you don't really like to admit, which is, you know, having a problem with yourself. And sometimes you have to like learn how to deal with living inside of your own skin and being the person that you are, you know, day to day. And that's not something to be ashamed of or anything like that. It's just something that isn't always peachy.
He said he may write something that's really like straight ahead, whereas I might write something that's really like what our producer Don would say, poor me. Like I write a lot of stuff that's just like, oh God, I'm so bummed or whatever. But we find a way to put those things that are a little more, hopefully a little more intelligent than like just whatever comes out of your head, and work with them a little bit and come up with something we're really proud of.
Hybrid Theory would go on to become the biggest selling album of 2001. With over 19 million sold worldwide and a huge fan base in Canada, Linkin Park were the new kings of the music industry.
Obviously, we're just normal guys who make music, and we do what we do, and we work hard at it, you know, and hopefully in that people, you know, who want to do something can see that and say, you know, if I work hard, I want to get where I want to be, and that's an inspiration.
That's actually a song by Nas.
Our goal as a band is to make music. And our goal has always been to make the best music that we possibly can.
In 2002, the band released Reanimation, a well-received compilation of remixes by some of the biggest names in the biz. But for all their success, Linkin Park couldn't escape the old public pastime of building up a hero just to knock them down again. Linkin Park came under fire from critics who claimed their music was manufactured angst.
People made jokes about like us being like put together by a boy band producer thing or something. They said we were, you know, what if they're manufactured? It was a big scandal, and obviously that's like ridiculous.
In fact, the entire nu metal genre was called into question, criticized for being a part of the same star-making machinery that created prefab pop stars. As a result, musicians began to try and distance themselves from the genre.
I think you're only limited by your own imagination, and that transcends, classifications, transcends rock, transcends hip-hop. You know, there's people all over the place that are doing all kinds of great things right now, and so we just like trying to take that to the next level.
In 2003, Linkin Park fought back with a well-crafted sophomore release called Meteora. The band poured their hearts and souls into every last detail of the album.
Working on Meteora took us 18 months to do it just because it took us that long for us to be happy with it. And then when you're finished with it, you do hope other people are going to like it and enjoy it and be into it, but you can't control that. You can only please yourself first.
The group wanted to shift the focus away from sales and instead aim for a personal best. Meteora went on to receive widespread critical acclaim, silencing critics who questioned their authenticity.
Going into this second record, there was a certain level of trust there. Yes, they've grown up, they've seen the world, but when they came to the studio, they left their egos outside, and we could work and make a great record. And that's a unique thing. That doesn't happen a lot of times with successful bands.
To promote the album, Linkin Park went back on the road for another 2 years.
When we went to Malaysia, it was kind of crazy. We got off the plane, and there was like, let's say maybe 100 people waiting for us in the airport.
We just arrived in Malaysia, and there's a few people here in Greece.
It was a little frightening. I don't know if I like that everywhere we went. I think that would kind of get really old.
A little bit of adrenaline, a little scary.
But in between concert dates, the guys managed to find time to squeeze in additional projects.
If you having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but J1, come on!
2004 marked the beginning of an innovative collaboration with the reigning king of hip-hop, Jay-Z.
I like to do different things. I like to collaborate and create well of artists, man. You just bring what you do to the table, I bring what I do to the table, uncompromised, and just whatever happens, happens. I love that.
Just happened to be a pimp with a tragedy. She wants to end the friend. She gave me one more chance to forget you.
Hold on, I might have to bring out the young Jay-Z. Come on, let's go. Good, man.
You know, there's something about this song that says hit. If we could just get Jay-Z on this track, it'd be big.
Bringing the mashup to the masses, the artist released a joint EP that went straight to the top of the charts and stayed there.
99 problems for the If you having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems that a J1.
But when their touring and promotional duties came to an end, Linkin Park knew if they didn't take a break, they risked overexposure, or worse, creative burnout.
Obviously, my parents, hardworking people. It's not like it comes out of thin air, but it's weird. I actually have to step it back at some points because I think that if I don't, I'm gonna hurt myself.
With no news of future releases, and Shinoda and Bennington both starting side projects, rumors of an imminent breakup began to swirl.
And that's BS.
Yo, what do I have to say? Maybe I should do what I have to do to break free.
When we come back, Linkin Park take a step away from the spotlight and set tongues wagging. Watch as the band take time out for charity.
We wanted to figure out a way where we could give something back.
And wage war on their corporate master. The members of Linkin Park found each other as if by some preordained existence. The music they create together has garnered admirers from across the globe.
At some points, they were singing along so loud that it is actually drowning out the PA. We played the largest headlining show we've ever played. That was an amazing experience.
But after years of dedicating their waking lives to the band, Linkin Park needed to take a well-deserved break. During the hiatus, members Mike Shinoda and Chester Bennington curbed their creative impulses by investing their time in newly formed side projects. But the press leapt at the opportunity to create controversy, claiming the band was headed for Splitsville. The rumors were put to rest when the band collectively organized the Foundation for the Victims of Natural Disasters, created in response to the tsunami in Thailand and Hurricanes Rita and Katrina.
We had just come off of a bit of touring down there, so it's a little bit more of a personal area for us, just kind of to see places where you've been and you have relationships down there, and I think it really just struck a chord. We wanted to figure out a way where we could give something back, and Music for Relief we felt like was a good way to put something together that could hopefully help out in that region.
They later played benefit shows for the charity, as well as the 2005 Live 8 concert. Linkin Park also found time to give back to their fans along the way. In 2001, they created the Linkin Park Underground, a fan club with membership perks like unreleased music and first dibs on concert tickets.
Linkin Park Underground is kind of the basis of everything we do.
It's our fan club, and we created that simply to maintain the idea of doing meet and greets and meeting a lot of our fans.
But generosity has its limits. In May of 2005, the band requested a release from their contract with Warner Brothers, citing lack of confidence as grounds for termination. The dispute was instigated when Warner neglected to share profits the band felt entitled to. Warner retaliated by publicly accusing Linkin Park of greed and consumption. After nearly a year of heated negotiations, both sides came to an agreement that profits would be shared more evenly. Linkin Park had fought the law, and they won. With their legal woes out of the way, the band focused their attention on an upcoming appearance that had some of the biggest names in music history performing on the same stage. At the 2006 Grammy Awards, Linkin Park, Jay-Z, and a very special guest, rock legend Paul McCartney, joined forces.
Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday.
The superstars performed a stunning version of the mashup hit Numb Encore to an adoring audience. The collaboration was to be the highlight of their careers thus far.
Yesterday came suddenly.
With a brand new full-length album slated for release in the summer of 2006, it is proof positive that Linkin Park will continue their legacy and cement their names in music history. From their humble beginnings at Agora High School in Southern California to front and center on the world stage, this unlikely sextet has achieved what they set out to do: create a body of work that is uplifting, diverse, and timeless.
As long as it's entertaining and somebody is having a good time listening to it or attaching something about themselves to it, then I think that you're doing something right.
Linkin Park was born to be.
So how do you guys like Japan so far, and what do you think of the Bullet Train experience? Do you think you'll be coming back again, either to Japan or to a Linkin Park show? Who's your favorite member in Linkin Park? There's obviously a language barrier here. It's now gotten to the point where I feel like I'm the zoo animal. If I close the shade, that's rude. It's like we've broken up, and now it's that awkward after time.